Are you committing one of the 7 deadly sins of psychotherapy? If you're a therapist, counselor, or mental health professional, listen up, because in this series we're diving deep into the biggest mistakes of psychotherapy and how to fix them. Welcome to the 7 deadly sins of psychotherapy. In this series, we're discussing the modern mistakes of professional mental health with the hope that together we can identify better practices and improve the outcomes and reputation of the psychotherapy discipline. The third deadly sin of psychotherapy comes from a contamination of pseudoscience, mysticism, and outright fraud. It violates the scientific method, scams the vulnerable, and at its worst has even harmed people's mental health. The third deadly sin is magical methods. Psychotherapy is a medical science. It's been tested in rigorous long-term clinical experiments and shown to improve mental health. However, this healing art is different from other more tangible medical disciplines. While a surgeon uses their scalpel to physically remove a problem from a patient's body, a psychotherapist uses intentional interaction to remove the invisible pathogen of mental illness. The methods of psychotherapy do at times seem strange, but we do have decades of science which examine methods to see which ones reliably produce good outcomes. But in the modern era, some therapists have taken extreme liberty with their approaches, incorporating mystical rituals, magical mindsets, and stunningly unscientific modalities that have nothing to do with the license a therapist has to practice. Many of these approaches have even become branded pyramid schemes, enticing therapists to attend expensive seminars to become certified so they can train other providers as long as they send money back up the pyramid. Alongside this, we have knockoff imitations of neurology or physics using sciencey language to sell snake oil approaches. And lastly, methods that attempt to unethically alter a patient's worldviews as a cure for mental illness. So what's so bad about therapists using these magical methods? First, there's the expectation of care. When a person's searching for a mental health solution, they find a variety of potential helpers. Some are called life coaches, others have religious titles, but licensed professionals carry the unique distinction of credibility as a medical discipline. That's because to earn a license, a therapist has to complete a college degree and an accredited graduate program the size of law school. After that, they spend 3 or more years in postgraduate mentorship, pass rigorous national examinations, interview with their state's boards of examiners, and then finally are given a license to practice psychotherapy. All this training is focused on scientifically sound approaches, which is exactly what the public expects. The second reason magical methods are bad is the problem of values imposition. Many of these methods require the patient to accept near religious belief in order to participate in treatment. Some methods incorporate secret energies. Others claim to use reality-altering mind powers. Some spiritualize narcotics, and others promote an entire worldview encompassing politics, economics, and criminal justice. Many of the magical methods run afoul of professional ethical codes because they violate the central tenet of not imposing beliefs upon the patient. Third, there's the potential for harm. In fairness, few therapists are out there being careless about the safety of their patient, but despite our best intentions, using methods which are not grounded in clinical science can cause harm. Psychotherapy's had lots of unscientific fad practices throughout history, and many were later found to be dangerous. Phrenology, rebirthing therapy, and conversion therapy are just some of the examples of practices that either harmed patients directly or harmed society generally. Therapists who don't stick to time-tested best practices may find themselves horrified that they once participated in something that caused harm. So at this point, you're asking, what are some examples of these magical methods? Well, let's put them into categories. One category is energy work. This category has methods that try to influence an invisible power of one kind or another, sometimes by using thinking tools, sometimes by using physical motions or contact with things, and sometimes by holding special objects or standing in special locations. Another category is neuronominals. This category has methods which somehow reference neurology but don't use hard science. Sometimes these methods involve special technology to modify your neurons, and sometimes the methods involve special movements or thinkings which manipulate neurology to improve your outcomes. Another category is mental states. This category is for methods that claim to help you access a special part of yourself or change your level of consciousness. It might involve using your consciousness to manipulate the world around you, or accessing your unconscious mind to discover some unknown reality, or attempting to reprogram yourself by using a secret part of your mind. Another important category is supplements, substances, and special stuff. This increasingly popular category believes that there is a conspiracy to hide the cure for mental illness, that medical researchers, pharmaceutical companies, and the federal government have colluded to stop you from changing your life with herbal supplements and intoxicating drugs, or nutrition and special diets. Other methods in this category may believe that special objects may emit frequencies of light, sense, or magnetism which heals people. Another well-known category is religious and spiritual. This category includes methods which adapt practices from a faith group, and they often incorporate theological views, concepts of morality, and the meaning of life into their strategy. But these methods have become less obvious as faith-based ideas often blend with culture or are mistaken for harmless, undefined spirituality. Lastly, we have the worldview category. This one has exploded in the modern era and contains methods which take a proactive socio-political approach to therapy. The work tends to focus on intentionally imposing values as a corrective measure to counteract legacy societal influences. Now, these methods can incorporate theories of economics, criminal justice, sociology, philosophy, and morality to change the person into a better citizen. While views which deconstruct bias and cultural influence have much to teach us, these approaches sometimes overreach, prescribing replacement ideologies which impose specific values. After hearing about these categories, you might be wondering, why would any licensed therapist use these magical methods? Well, one reason is the absence of generational clinical influence. When students train under clinically inexperienced professors, they're often given worldview philosophy instead of practical methods. Later, these rookie therapists enter the workforce and seek internet influencers who promote pop culture rather than best practices. The lack of clinical leadership in the profession leaves new therapists vulnerable to adopting bad approaches. Another reason is professional peer pressure. As we discussed, many of today's magical theories are proliferated by pyramid schemes, overseen by profitable training companies. The methods spread as therapists become certified to teach others and then recruit their colleagues. Soon, workshops, continuing education credits, seminars, and conferences establish a credible culture around the method, attracting more professionals who don't want to become out of date with current techniques. So, how can we avoid magical methods? First, we should always be suspicious of popular certifications, especially those that promise to certify you to teach others. Second, be weary of alleged evidence for certain methods. Long-term clinical research should produce reliable results across spectrums of patients before a method can truly be validated. Third, always return to your code of ethics to guide you. Encouraging patients to self-medicate, adopt a worldview, or believe in mysticism is always unethical. Throughout this series, we'll continue to explore the 7 deadly sins of psychotherapy so we can improve this vital profession for our patients and communities. I hope you'll join me with a curious and open mind and that this series will challenge you to discuss with your colleagues how we can all improve. I'm Dr. Jim, the Sin City Shrink. Thanks for watching, and I hope to continue our conversation.